Good morning, everyone. How are ya? Good. So we have a new couple this morning, and I want to welcome them, Roger and Gay. My name is Farolyn Mann. I'm the minister here in the church. And we want to welcome back Darlene and give you our love and hugs. We're happy to have you with us this morning, sweetheart. And so we'll start now with a prayer as we do all the services here in our church. Just come together as one mind and one heart, one spirit, knowing that there's love in this room, and that love really is all there is. So it's up to us to be the love, to show the love. It's in us all. And so what we know about this wonderful congregation is each and every one of you are the love, and you bring it with you each time you come. And for this, we're very grateful. We're grateful for our special musicians today who've come to be with us and share their love and their talent. And we're grateful for all the good in our lives, all the good that comes to this church, and all the good that's on its way to us now. Truly here we live in gratitude, and so it is. Amen. So our message this morning is about prosperity, and the reason that's true is because I got literally about 10 requests last week that they wanted to hear more about prosperity. So we'll continue with this. And when I was trying to think, how do I say something else about prosperity that I haven't already said, I came upon Catherine Ponder books. How many of you know about Catherine Ponder? So a lot of you do. You know about her. So for those of you who don't know about her, she's amazing, and she has written more than a dozen books. She is a unity minister. She is in Wikipedia. She's well known. Wikipedia describes her like this. It says that she's successful and is ranked in the richest person list from the United States. The richest person list. So that's a pretty interesting thing about her, because most of us ministers aren't that rich. In fact, she says that in her book. But she decided she was going to be. She was going to be. So she was born in 1927. She's still alive today. She's 96 years old. She started 3 churches. She started her first church in 1956 in South Carolina, and was ordained in the Unity churches as an ordained minister in 1956. She went to another ministry. She started a couple of them in Texas, and then she went to where she has lived ever since, in Palm Desert, California, and she has what she calls out there a Unity Worldwide Global Ministry. And she's still the minister there. That gives me some hope. True, I mean that. But anyway, her first book was called The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. That was her very first book. And while she was writing that book, and she learned her prosperity principles, you understand, at Unity from Charles Fillmore. But when she was at the First Church in Alabama, she wrote her first book, and it was The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. And this is again in Wikipedia. It says, as she wrote that first book, her life changed dramatically. She got married while she was at that church. She moved to the Southwest, where her husband was a teacher at the University of Texas. She founded ministries in Austin, Texas in the 60s, in San Antonio in the 70s, and she's been in Palm Desert, California since 1973. She's been there ever since. Following her husband's death, when they were living in South Texas, her life changed again. She has taught all over the world. She's taught in all churches. She's been on TV. She's been on the radio. She's truly a success, and teaches you in every one of her books how to be a success. There's a man named Tom Butler Bowden who writes about successful people and their books, and he said she's one of the 50 most successful classics in books, and that her Open Your Mind to Prosperity book was featured in his 50 prosperity classic books. So this is a little bit to show you who she is, because I want to give you an insight into what she teaches that has made her so successful. What she teaches is prosperity is about every area of your life. You know, I think I told you before, I had people complain to me that when I talked about prosperity, they took it as money, that I was talking about money. And I made them uncomfortable, and I talked about money too much. I can't emphasize enough that is not the definition of prosperity. Prosperity, according to Malachi, in the book of the Old Testament, prosperity meant wholeness. Wholeness in every area of your life, not just money. And money's good, and we like money, and it takes money to do the things we love to do. But prosperity is about being whole in every area of your life. And remember, we've talked about this before here, healing and wholeness. The word healing and wholeness are the same. So when we're whole, we are healed of everything. Body, mind, spirit. So that's what we strive for. And all of Catherine Ponder's books talk about prosperity in that way. She covers relationships and health and careers that satisfy and money and all kinds of endeavors like things that you like to do that are hobbies and whatever. So in every one of her books, she covers all of that. So I guess what I'm emphasizing here is that when we talk about prosperity, keep an open mind about the true definition of that word and how it applies to us in our lives. When we truly get the meaning of prosperity and wholeness, the way she taught it and the way I'm speaking of it this morning, when you get that, it becomes second nature. You just do it. You just be kind. You just be loving. You just be helpful to others. You just see the good in the world and in everything. It becomes part of your healing, part of this wholeness that the universe is biased toward wholeness and healing. Remember, we talk about that all the time. And so when you are in that flow of that healing and wholeness, the money comes. Just does. Because you've created the flow in your life in all the areas already. Nothing's blocking. And I emphasize this because the minute that when I said, okay, we're going to talk about prosperity again, some of you thought, I don't see how, my checkbook's empty. I got all these bills. I don't have a job. I don't know why she's going to talk about prosperity this morning. So that usually happens. And so what we're trying to do is move beyond that. It's bigger than that. It's more than that. And it's more of a reward for you with that when you begin to live from it and understand it. And by the way, when you say, I don't see how I can be prosperous, remember the other thing I teach you? How is none of your business. How it comes, when it comes, where it comes from is none of your business. Because if you knew all of that, you'd have already done it, right? You'd already have it if you knew how. All you need to know is that it is part of your universe. It's part of the goodness of all things. So, to focus on the material of the word prosperity it's a mistake, because we begin to defeat ourselves in the very beginning. Remember, we are material and we are divine. And as material beings, we're going to live and die and get sick, and things are going to happen that we like and things that are going to happen that we don't like. And that's a material, but it's all going to go away at some point. The divine in us never dies. The divine in us is the spirit that is connected to the wholeness of all that is of the universe. That never dies. That never goes away. So we want to always be remembering when we say how, well, the how is fleeting. May look like your pocketbook's not full today, but it might be tomorrow. So that's none of your business, how and when it happens. Your business is to lead the kind of life that attracts it. That's what I want to talk about. So we align ourselves with this part of the universe that is love. And things begin to happen. We have proven this in our church. We have amazing things happen in our church. And it's because we're living this prosperity of all that is and all the love that is. So giving and receiving, remember we say this all the time, giving and receiving are part of the same circle. It applies to our money, but it also applies to giving love, giving of time, giving a hand up, being kind to everyone you meet, going that extra mile. Every time you do, you've opened yourself up to receiving all of those things in like kind, but also receiving other things. What I call the spiritual zone. When we're living from that space, we're living in a spiritual zone that creates ultimate success and perfection. We all have it in us already. We all do. The question is, are we living from it? Do we remember that's who we are? Do we remember that is what gives us the flow of life? Because the minute we start resenting people or feeling like we have to be careful of other people, or, the minute you let all of that stuff come in that isn't about spiritual wholeness, then we shut down our own good. And like I said, it's within us all, whether we manifest it or not. It's part of who we were created to be. It can feel like the way the world kind of operates, it can feel like the world is an uncaring, random expression of biological processes. That's all we are. But that's not the truth. That is not the truth. We are so much more than that. You are so much more than that. And the more that you are is the more that you exude love and giving and just living from that joy of getting up every day and the gratitude for the small things and the gratitude for the large things. That's what opens us up to our prosperity. We forget that this planet we live on is a living, breathing reflection of love. The universe is biased toward healing. It is biased toward love. Humans get in the way of that. We're all capable of getting in the way of that. But that's what this universe is. It's biased toward healing. We can trust it. We can trust in it. And sometimes we get into that place where we forget that we can trust others. We can be the good we want to see and not have to protect ourselves from whatever we feel might be harmful. Whatever your mind is aligned with, whatever your mind is aligned with, whether it's the giving and receiving of love, or whether it's the shutting people out or down, or not having trust in everyone, whatever it is, whatever our mind's aligned with, is what shows up. It's what gets manifest in our lives. We know that. Have to be reminded of that every once in a while. I have to be reminded of that every once in a while. Sometimes when the not so good shows up, it's to remind us there's some place in us that we're not thinking so well. So just notice those things. But when we are aligned, it opens up all the channels for good to show up in our lives. So how do we go about changing the way we think about prosperity and seeing it as a way of being and opening for all good to show up? How do we do that? We have to look at it as the definition that it is. Wholeness. Wholeness. We are whole. We are all of these things, and we get to choose which ones we show up as. So open your mind. This is a book she wrote that I took some things out of, and this is one that we have these back there, don't we, Mickey? We have some more of these. Raise your hand, sweetheart. Mickey is she's our bookstore guru. She runs the bookstore. And we've got quite a few of Catherine Ponder's books in the bookstore. She sent boxes of free books to people at one point in time. And we got to inherit a few of them from the Houston bookstore. Remember when that happened? But this was the one that I kind of picked today because I want to emphasize what I wanted to emphasize in my talk, which is that she shows it in here that the opening the door to our good has to do with relationships. It has to do with all these things I've already mentioned. It's not just about money. And in these books, she illustrates how to create some of those things in your life. The relationships and finding the job that you love and all of these things. So if you're interested, we've got a few of these back there, but we've also got a few of her other books. But in all of her books, this is what she does. she emphasizes how prosperity shows up in all the ways of our lives. And so when you can see prosperity as a universal wholeness and not just as money, amazing things begin to happen in your life. They just show up. Things you would have never dreamt, including wealth, but including other things. Once she got into this, she found her husband. And then she kept writing these books, and she became very wealthy. She's still alive today. She has emphasized all of the different areas of her life in a positive way. And by the way, most of the iconic ministers who started Unity all those many years ago all lived to be in their 90s. They figured it out. They figured out how to be whole in all the areas of their life and to see the positive side of all of the ways that we are created. So it's not our circumstances, but it's our thoughts about our circumstances that determine our power to transform our circumstances. Does that make sense? So all kinds of circumstances are going to show up in your life. But that's not what it's about. It's about how you deal with it, how you deal with what life deals you. And that's what we're talking here today. To meet it with love, to meet it with kindness, to be generous beyond where you normally are generous. It comes back to you. It shows up. And when we have these thoughts, this thinking about our circumstances and determining the power that we have to transform our circumstances, we will create miracles or block miracles, depending on which way we choose to look at our circumstances. I don't know about you, but I'd like to expect miracles. And I got one more little thing that I shared with Mickey that I forgot to say last week when I was talking about prosperity. And it fits here, but it would have fit well last week too, and I didn't. And it was making the point that we have to be aware that giving and receiving, being part of the same circle, is how we have to take when people give us things. How many of you don't like to take things? How many of you say, oh, no, I can't take that? Yeah, well, stop it. And the reason I say stop it is because you're keeping them from their good. And that's not what your intention was. Right? So the next time somebody takes you to dinner and wants to pay, or brings you a present, or whatever, don't say, no, I can't take it. Say thank you. Because you're doing their favor, you're a favor to them, because you're keeping their circle of giving and receiving open. And that's what you want to do. Plus you stop your circle of giving and receiving too when you say no. So I left that out last week, but I wanted to make it part of this week because I think we all do it at some time. Oh no, let me pick that up. Oh no, I can do that. Oh no. No, you're keeping them from their good too, and that is not what you want to do. That's not what you mean to do. So, whether you want good health, whether you want a wonderful relationship, a great job, wealth, whatever it is, the universal love of self and others and our earth brings that to us just by being who we are. just by being the love and the wholeness that we were created to do and to be, we open up, not only our mind to receive, but we open up to receive our good. So remember from now on when prosperity is being talked about, yes, it's about money. We all like money. That's really a portion of it. It's about the wholeness of all that is, that we're a part of, that when we show up as, amazing, amazing things happen. So let's take that now into a moment of meditation, and just find a comfortable place in your chair and take a deep breath and just think for a moment. Is this look about prosperity as wholeness? How does this feel to you? Is this a new concept? Does this give you an opening to trust the universe in more ways? To say yes to the good. Each one of these things that we choose to do open our mind to receive more good. Open our mind to see prosperity in its wholeness in every area of our lives. To see our relationships in wonderful ways. Being grateful for our relationships. Opening our mind to receive great jobs, knowing that they're there and just trusting that that job we love will be there for us. Loving our earth, loving one another. Just being in that space of opening our mind to receive all the good that's ours. That there is a flow of life, that there is a giving and receiving, a never-ending circle. It is there. It is for all of us. And only our fear can take it away, can stand in the way, can block it. And so we let go of all our fears, all our doubts, all our mistrust, and open our minds to receiving a whole new way of being and of looking at our world. See prosperity as the allness of all that is. Perhaps bigger than we can wrap our minds around. But we're open to discovering the allness of all that is and the goodness of all that is. So if there's a special place in your life where you have been doubtful, or felt alone, or felt despair, make a commitment to yourself today to let that go. Just let it go. There's so much more. There's so much more in this universal love. It's not about our circumstances. It's about how we look at our circumstances. And so we make a commitment today to keep our mind open to the oneness, the allness, the good. And as we receive it for ourselves, we give it out to others. It is ours. We receive it and we share it. And when we do, we can expect miracles. And so give thanks, feel gratitude for all the good that's in your life. Give thanks and gratitude for all the good that's on its way to you now, even if you don't see it, even if it doesn't feel that way at this moment. Know that that circle of life comes back around and it will be yours. Expect it. Be open to receive it. And give thanks for it before you see it happening. And so it is. Amen.